I knew that our poor baby girl Shizuku was gonna get stabbed up by that maid. It wasn't a if, it was for sure a when. And I knew exactly, like I felt exactly the two things here. I knew when they showed Glasses Girl, I had a feeling. I was like, I bet that girl there is the one that was working with the other classmate who is just an asshole. But I knew that it had to be her just because the voices sounded similar, and they made a point to kind of like call her out this episode versus the other characters that were around there. Now, the thing that worries me the most is like 75% of all the students just got stabbed up. All right. Now, are they going to survive that? I simply, like, the answer is I just don't know. Right. The hope would be that suddenly Hajime and his group, they make their way to the kingdom, because this was a few hours or a couple of hours prior to Hajime fighting Noint, right? So this was like a couple of hours for her prior to Hajime fighting Noint, and prior to the church blowing up, and prior to him getting the Liberator's magic ring and stuff, right? So this was a couple of hours before. So the hope is that this is showing us a timeline of those couple of hours passing, where it started off with Shizuku saying like, "Oh, something's wrong," meeting with Kiku, whatever the hell the hero's name is. I hate that guy. But we're meeting up with him, and then all of this things happening, which I saw totally coming. I'm sure you saw it too. And for those who are light novel readers, what manga readers, web novel, whatever, like I'm sure you all knew it was coming. It's like it's not an if, it's just a when, right? So that is definitely interesting. Now the thing is they put her in cuffs. So obviously the main goal is to have them subdued, right? Now, I don't know if they dealt any fatal blows. I imagine that not everybody is going to survive. They all got some kind of blow in some sense. They all kind of got stabbed up in some sense. Some will probably prove fatal, some probably won't. So it's just a dependent on that, on who's going to end up surviving of that group. But again, the hope is that Hajime comes in and saves their ass, kind of like he did prior when they were inside the dungeon before. Is that going to happen? I don't know for sure. It may or may not happen. He might get there kind of like after the fact. So that all kind of just simply remains to be seen. But man, Shizuku, that's my, after Kaori, like Shizuku's like right there for me. You know what I mean? And she's not as high as like Tio, but she's like right there. You know what I mean? This is like she's right there in the group. So like that just kind of like sucks to see that she got betrayed. I knew that maid was gonna get betrayed. It's like, yo, Shizuku seems to be a little bit more sharp than most. So it's like I thought that she would have put two and two together with the maid girl, something not being right originally. Obviously, she didn't do that, which is okay. It happens. I get it. But damn. The rest of the episode though was freaking awesome. We got the continuation of his fight with Noint. I was screaming to the top of my lungs, for Hajime to go and check and finish her. Like one of my biggest pet peeves, that it's like, yo, you would think this dude, right? Because Hajime is all about like calculations and making sure that someone's never going to come back to get revenge on him, etc. Like he's pretty methodical about his actions, right? So immediately I was screaming to the top of my lungs when he finally finished off Noint. And the way he finished off Noint, like, come on, you know what I mean? You gotta do like your art over there, get her. I was like, yes, finally he got her. And he effed her up, right? Because obviously he went for her core. As you know, as he should know by now, sometimes these demonoid core-driven things have more than one core. He's dealt with ones that have had with more than one core before, who are able to manipulate the place of their core. So I was like, yo, go check that body. Go take her head. Like, destroy her. Like, inflame her. Engulf her in flames. Like, burn her up. You know what I mean? Pour her ashes over something. Like, so I was a little peeved about that. But regardless, that's just a nitpick of my own personal, like, yo, make sure she dead. Like, not dead, but like dead. And he didn't do that, which is, his prerogative, but she's going to come back and bite him in the ass later, if she comes back to life because she had a core in her toe or something. So that's going to be something that, Hopefully it doesn't come back. Hopefully she is done. Hopefully that was a one and done. You know what I mean? But like I got a feeling in my jellies in this region that she gonna come back because he didn't go check the body. So that's that. But the fight was really dope, and I was glad that he pulled it out. You know, he pulled out his little teleportation saucers, and you know he did his things. He pulled out his big gun, and it was really really dope fight, and I really enjoyed that quite a bit. Then we transitioned to Aiko and Tio working together. Aiko used her farming fermenting skills and used that power on Tio and her breath, and she also used it to kind of like ferment or I guess accelerate like a gas substance that basically caused a massive explosion. And when Tio hit me with the line of, "Oh, you know, I haven't faced death for a while. I was close today. I lost it. Like I was hella laughing. Like I went like, yo, she said what? You know, and I was like, okay, I feel you there. But that whole Aiko scene was so dope. And then like she annihilated, obliterated, just completely blew that church the F up. And I like how she was like, oh, where did all the church believers go? And Tio looks like, yo, you helped me, like we were gonna like do some damage, but we blew it up. Like they gone, they gone. And then obviously Aiko has to take a moment to come to grips with that and deal with the fact that like, yo, yeah, you just executed all of them, you know what I mean? But they went easy. It was a quick blow up, you know. And then Hajime had to console her, hugs, you know. I was like, cool. So we know Aiko's just gonna fall deeper in love with Hajime, you know, because of how he was there for her in those rough moments and stuff. So definitely love that. And I like her dynamic with Tio. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, I hope I see more of that in the future. I think that would be pretty cool too. But I definitely love that. And then obviously Hajime goes, he sees the ghost of the Liberator, who is like, I guess a church guy, maybe a minister, pastor, pope or something. And he gets the magic, and thankfully, you know, to get the Liberator's magic of that specific dungeon area, whatever, there were some check boxes he had to check off. When one was being a non-believer, standing against God, you know, defeating God's apostle or whatever, which he did, which was Noint, check mark. And he was able to kind of do everything. So that's why the Liberator appeared in front of him, because he got all the checks or all the requirements of that specific dungeon. He got him out the way without even knowing that he got him out the way. So that was cool. The thing that they didn't spend too much time on, though, which I was a little disappointed about, was like the specific magic that he had now absorbed in, because each one of them has like, you know, dimension magic or stuff like that. So I was like, well, what was the specific power of this, you know, castle creator? Or I think maybe the like magic of the creator. So maybe he can now create stuff out of like thin space or something. Like maybe he can kind of like manipulate, I don't know, anything, but he can like create stuff. I don't know exactly what the magic was. If you guys know, drop it in the comments. Maybe I missed it, but the only thing I caught was that Liberator was like a designer. He was the one that designed the dungeons and stuff. So maybe the creation magic or something like that. I'm not really too sure. But the rest of the episode, obviously fantastic. The fight really good. The stuff with Aiko, great. Stuff with 𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐽. That remains to be seen. Hopefully Hajime can come and come and save the kingdom. But first, he has to go meet up with our girl, Yue. So, obviously, and Shia, of course. But it's going to remain to be seen. But I can't wait for next week's episode. This one was dope AF, as always. I appreciate you guys being here. Drop your comments. Drop the answers to my questions in the comments below. And I'll see you, my friends, next week for episode 11? Is it 11 next week? Yeah, episode 11 next week. All right. Deuces. Peace out, everybody.